From NBC News, this is Today with Katie Couric and Matt Lauer. Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Bob Dotson went to Massachusetts and brought back an American story that will inspire anyone with a dream.
In today's American Story with Bob Dotson, we meet a man with a fast car who teaches kids how to win their race with life by following a dream.
Here we go. Oh, great drag race right here between the two of them.
This raceway near Reading, Pennsylvania is special to Jay Blake.
I came here as a spectator in September of '98. And that weekend, I decided I was going to follow my dream.
To own a drag racer. A funny car like this that runs on alcohol can cost $150,000. Jay had little money and no large corporate sponsors.
You drained your bank accounts?
Oh, a long time ago.
You refinanced your house?
Yes.
And persuaded his brother to drive.
I said, "You're nuts, but I'll come."
Jay would be the crew chief.
Yeah, I'm good on lash caps over here, Scott.
Last season, Jay's car, Follow a Dream, finished second. That put him in the top 20 worldwide.
All right, yeah.
Not bad for a man who has been totally blind for the past 7 years.
Is there a table over here? I don't need sight to have a vision.
He's been unable to see ever since a forklift tire blew up in his face, knocking him 45 feet, smashing his nose and breaking his jaw. He lost his sense of smell and taste and nearly lost his life.
I'm looking for a pair of pliers. People don't always put things back where they belong.
Jay, a master mechanic, spent a year at home on Cape Cod following his accident, wondering if he could learn to tell one tool from another.
In my garage over the winter, I took the entire car apart from one end to the other.
Hit it. Then, with the help of a special team, all volunteers, Jay rebuilt a winner he cannot see.
Well, what have you learned from him?
Just, you can always, if you want to do something, you can do it. It's as simple as that. Just, you might fail the first time, try again.
Since childhood, Jay has been fixing things so they will go fast. Now he is fixing himself. A divorced parent, he started dating again and wants to do more than rebuild race cars.
Realistically, there are things I can't do because I can't see, but I don't like the word can't.
Jay decided to take his winnings and go to schools all along the East Coast.
Things happen. Don't raise your hand and wait for me to call on you. We'll be here all day.
Now he talks to kids who have reasons to give up on life.
Blindness, I sum up in a little phrase called, it sucks.
C.J. Finnegan broke his neck 3 years ago. Jay's fast car got his attention.
What kind of horsepower is it pushing?
This car generates approximately 3,000 to 3,500 horsepower.
Even a teenager cannot ignore a car that rockets from 0 to 250 in 5 seconds. Or Jay's blunt wisdom.
I can't fix anything in my past. Just gotta work on things that you've done and just keep moving forward.
Holy cow!
Life may be a wild ride at times. But the blind man believes you have to look beyond your problems to win more than you lose. For today, Bob Dotson, NBC News, with an American Story on Cape Cod in Massachusetts.
Great inspiration. To learn more about Jay Blake's dream and Follow a Dream organization, log on to our website at today.msnbc.com.
For the second time this year, we've converged on Maple Grove Raceway in Reading, Pennsylvania. But unlike the first trip a few weeks ago, we don't have to worry about the weather at all. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents exclusive coverage of the NHRA Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series. Today, from Maple Grove Raceway in Reading, Pennsylvania, it's the 20th running of the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals, and you can tell that the leaves are starting to turn here in central Pennsylvania as we are getting ready and looking for some great performances. Already we've seen elapsed time in top alcohol dragster of 5.26 seconds and a top speed of 272 miles an hour. Yeah, the air is very good. Hey, and as you take a look at the funny car ladder, remember this. There's another former photographer that made a pretty good name for himself in drag racing. Whit Bazemore. That's right. He started as a professional photographer as well. Manzo, Frank, he's got lane choice, as does David Ray. Over on the other side, it is Paul Gill and Bob Newberry with the lane choice. And first up, as we get ready back at the starting line, but we are starting to see some of the big puffy clouds starting to build and roll in, so we might see the ET starting to drop if that cloud cover continues to roll over the racetrack. And right now you can see we've got one big nice cloud right there, but here comes the sun back towards the tower.
Dan Pomponio right there runs out of the Berlin, New Jersey area, and they're having a problem starting that follow dream. That's Jay Blake's car, the great story. Fellow that was legally blinded in an industrial accident. He's got this car. David Ray is driving it. They ran better than they ever have before in qualifying, Marty. And they had a lot of cameras following him around. It's a great story what Jay Blake has done. Now, they spun it over, but they're going to start to be working against the clock right here. Of course, Pomponio's already made his burnout, backing up at the starting line. It will be interesting to see how this relatively young team handles this pressure.
And he has to do an abbreviated burnout. You see Rick Stewart saying, yep, that's right.
That's going to be interesting. Dan Pomponio, the old thumbs up there from the start. It means everything's good. Nobody wants to hang the other guy out. If David Ray made a long burnout, Rick Stewart has it within his authority to shut him off. It's going to be a great run right here. Pomponio coming out of the Super Gas ranks, the Super Pro ranks down there at Atco, New Jersey. Got a lucky break when Bruce Mullins was not able to answer the bell in the opening round. And I mean, Danny just zinged it right out of the starting gate. So he got a fortunate run right there. With David Ray with some stunning runs in the 560s here this weekend. The question is, whatever it was that ailed them when they were trying to start it, is that going to hurt them once the light goes green?
And now you can see the sun has burst back out on the track. Too late to make any kind of adjustments at this stage. You're going to have to go with what you brought.
Now, David Ray's been in the 60s a couple of times this weekend. Danny Pomponio, that's like the uncharted territory for him. But coming out of the Super Gas ranks, very quick on the tree. May have to try to get a slight edge right off the starting line.
Advantage, Pomponio. Oh, but he gets all crossed up. And take a look at the numbers. 5.69 seconds, 253 miles an hour, and David Ray takes it into semifinal action.
What a great story that is. That team's gone into the semifinals. They have a couple different guys drive it. Our very own Todd Vinny, who's worked with us here on ESPN, has had some stints behind the wheel, but right now that's the story of this race, Marty.
Today's Speed World presentation of the Lucas Oil Sportsman Nationals is brought to you by Lucas Oil, the world leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants.
Yeah.
Let's go to the far end to Dave Reed.
Now with Dave Ray, we're just talking about what went on before that round. Kind of lucky to be standing down here.
Oh, my God. The car wouldn't fire. It kept backfiring, so I yelled at the guys. We had one cross spark plug wire, so we just took and crossed the wires. The car fired. I did a sharp burnout and went from A to B. It's awesome. I can't believe we made it.
I think David Ray and Paul Gill from the same neck of the woods.
Here are the matchups for the semifinals. Frank Manzo will have lane choice over David Ray. And on the other side, it will be Bob Newberry with the lane choice over Paul Gill. But first, we'll draw our attention back to the starting line. And there is David Ray.
David with a nice recovery after they had problems before they fired up in that quarterfinal round to come back, make a great run, take out Danny Pomponio and run a 569. Jay Blake, it was right on the side of this track, Marty. Years ago, I walked up after a race, and a kid sitting down there with a cane. He said, "Are you Bob Fry?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "My name's Jay Blake, and I'm going to run a funny car some year." And I patted him on the back, gave him a lifesaver, and said, "Yeah, nice, nice dream. Good luck, kid." And here, Jay Blake's got a race car right now that's one round away from going to the championship.
Great story. Let's check in with Dave Reef.
Bob Newberry gets out of the race car. Well, these things must not be easy to run. The air's gotten cooler. We expect the cars to get a little quicker, but it takes your 61 to get around his 58.
Well, we're happy to win any race any way we can, and
Had a little problem on the run. I'm not sure what it is. Had a little vibration run before. Had a vibration a little worse this time. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But Paul runs real good. He's one of my customers. He runs fast. 58. Tough way to lose a race. But we're certainly glad to be in the final. Don't know who we got to run, but it'll be a good one.
There's Frank Manzo. John Glade has been there with him every race. There is Jay Blake, nearest to the camera there. He's the guy that was legally blinded in an industrial accident. What a great story. Great motivational speaker. Right now, the one thing that he's doing is fielding a marvelous race car. So this team with David Ray driving, coming out of Massachusetts, as you watch the Blake brothers on the starting line, see if they can take on Frank Manzo. The best thing you can do right now, by the way, if you're Jay's brother, don't tell him it's Frank in the other lane. And he just has such a great spirit about everything that's confronted him and everything he's overcome. Jay Blake's a great story.
Advantage Manzo. Race win Manzo, and he's going to have lane choice. 5.52 seconds, 261 miles. And look at them. They are still celebrating because their car ran 5.66 at 2:48.
Let me tell you, they just made the quickest run that they've gone against Frank Manzo, but Manzo just lowered the boom on everybody. But a 5.52.9, 261 miles an hour. That is one of the quickest, one of the fastest runs that you're ever going to see. And for Jay Blake and his team, great weekend. 5.66. David Ray showed me something there. Drove out of a little slide on the starting line, but Frank Manzo in the other lane, I thought he might go into the 40s on this run, but he goes 5.52 by a whole pile. He's got lane choice over his good friend and great rival, Bob Newberry.